In other Microsoft news, Microsoft decides to acquire TikTok, or at least they're in talks of it right now. Could this be the best, worst disaster dumpster fire in the history of American history? Yup. TikTok was only going to be banned because Zuckerberg threw a fit, and it's China. I do love that everybody, and this was interesting to me, and I'll call out people for this. I'm not going to Facebook because I'm upset that they spy on people and they take our data, but they're on TikTok, which literally tracks your phone every 10 seconds. Which, without you knowing, you didn't know it did that. It goes through and gets all your contacts without your permission. It goes and reads your text messages without your permission. It sends the data to the Chinese government without your permission. At least with Facebook, you signed up knowing it was going to do that. It told you that in the terms of service. Trump threw a fit, but and threatened to do it, and then everyone was like, screw you, old stupid person, you can't ban it. And then Mark Zuckerberg said that it was a problem. And when he said it was a problem because his feelings got hurt because Instagram went down in user base, then it became a real thing that they were going to actually shut it down because of the recent hearings they had in the Senate, I believe, or on Capitol Hill, where they discussed tech giant market share and viability of more US-based companies having more things. Williams, X12. Man, a day of days today. All the old hockey people coming in, hanging out with me. What up, Williams? How are you, sir? So when Zuckerberg had his feelings hurt, then Trump said he's going to ban it. But now, because Microsoft is considering acquiring TikTok, there is a 45-day continuance on the threat of banning it. So Microsoft essentially has 45 days to pick up and acquire at least the U.S. and Canadian arms of TikTok. It is rumored they will also pick up Australia and New Zealand. Why does Microsoft want another entertainment company or social media company when they... Big 50! Big 50, man. Thank you for the gifted sub. Appreciate you. Williams, welcome to the inner circle. You have been indoctrinated, my friend. Welcome back into the club, my friend. Thank you, 50. You're the best. Appreciate you. Somewhere for FTL, maybe. They're going to use FTL for Game Pass and xCloud specifically. So we know that that's why they bought Mixer. We get it. That's exactly why they bought Mixer and destroyed the company from the inside out. With this, it's one reason and one reason only, because they couldn't. Does anybody remember the website Social? so.cl? Probably not, right? You probably don't remember that. You want to know why? It was a Microsoft-owned social media company, and it failed. It lasted like a year. I miss you like all the time too, Williams, for what it's worth. So they couldn't make that work. They couldn't make Zoom work. They couldn't make Skype work. They could have owned this work from home period if they didn't screw up Skype. But they screwed up Skype so bad. Zoom came out of nowhere. Zoom was the laughing stock of the internet meeting space, like until 4 days into this work from home pandemic thing. Y'all don't realize that. Zoom was the joke of the entire space. It was GoToMeeting, and it was GoToAssist, and Teams started to blow up, and Citrix was a thing, and there's all these different links. Google Meets. Zoom was nobody, but they owned it, they adapted, and they crushed it. Microsoft's kicking themselves in the ass because they had an opportunity to really own the space and chose not to. Like 4 years ago. Microsoft Teams can be good, but yeah, unless you have a really good developer inside your company to build you the apps you need for it, it's not many people love it. There's a reason why Zoom is so good now, because their team was super adaptive. So what does a company want with TikTok that has failed at literally every other entertainment and social media company they have ever put their hands on? Data. And that is it. Data, data, data. They want to know everything about you. Now, Amazon wants to do the same thing. Twitter wants to do the same thing. Facebook wants to do the same thing. Google wants to do the same thing. Zoom is awesome because when my coworkers tell me that they're going out and about, I put on my stay at home, you idiot, Zoom background. I just put it up there every time, just every time. It also helps me when I'm talking to like CEOs on meetings because they don't like to see my eccentricities. They want me to be all vanilla. So I just change my background. 2, mind you, a looping video of The Office, the TV show, when they're in the meeting room with the camera facing out into the office with Stanley behind them and Stanley's like on the computer. It's just a loop of that for a minute and a half and it just loops. It's Stanley like on the computer behind me working on stuff. Makes me happy. They're none the wiser. I'm thrilled because they don't get it. It's okay. So all these companies want your data. Microsoft wants a direct line to who? Millions and millions and millions. The millions and millions of young consumers. They want to know exactly where younger generations are going to consume content, to find trends, and to tap into their buying habits or what they're referring their parents to buy for them. As I say younger, it could be 13 to 18, but it's also 18 to 30, that younger demographic. They sucked at mobile because they were ahead of their time. It happens. 50. It's 9:05 p.m. Do you know where your children are? Microsoft does. 100%. That's funny. So now TikTok gives them direct access to the data and direct access to allow people to create videos from their phones. Microsoft said, okay, if we can't own the mobile space, we'll just put all of our software on mobile phones that already are in the hands of the consumers. Remember, Microsoft is a software company first. They are not a hardware company. They do hardware as a means to an end. So they want your data. They want access. And honestly, they just want to leverage and get market share into young consumer demographic. Right now, I don't know this to be true, but the average user, I would have to assume, of a Microsoft product in business is like 49. They've been using Microsoft since 82, and they just kept with the product. But that's going away. Linux is coming in. Apple's coming in. Google Chromebooks are coming in. So market share is dwindling. How do you get back into that space? You take over a younger demo. That's just what happens. This is the first time, though, in tech that we do have that transition in demographic. If we really go back 50 years, computers weren't really a thing. Mainframe computers were run by secretaries that like plug things in and that's it. Little punch cards. You had to be really smart to use those machines. Now it's accessible. This is the first time that we're seeing buying habits change and companies adapting to go to that younger demo. It's like when cars came around, you know? People bought old cars. They got old. They bought the same cars. New people wanted different cars. What do they want? Make things for them. Same thing is happening here. We know that they're involved in xCloud with Facebook. So we know that they can't figure out AI to the same degree that everybody else can. TikTok has a really amazing AI. So they want that. They want it for their HoloLens. So you have to really think about the bigger picture of what they want to do with TikTok. I have uninstalled TikTok forever ago because I realized really what they're doing is nefarious, shady, and is the closest thing to like pedophilia that I didn't want to be associated with. The TikToks themselves were funny, but the things they were promoting underneath and the things that they were sending to the Chinese government were not really what I was comfortable with. But it's just funny to me, all the streamers that wouldn't go to Facebook because of privacy, but were totally fine TikToking away. It just proves the media perception of the actuality of the issue. Media says Facebook bad, so you think Facebook bad. Facebook is just as bad as every other company out there. No less, no more. Just as bad as Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and TikTok. And Tencent, for that matter. It is all the same. Twitter's probably the most ethical at this point because of the transition they had to go through. But even they are light years away from total true north on their morale compass. Or moral compass. Morale compass is different. That'd be happy. So Microsoft potentially buying TikTok. We'll have to see.